Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Or is the ultimate target of all this work is to be able to understand, to make the fields of the soul of the man. At the strength of his work, we have replicated to show the energies of the matter. The ultimate goal is to be able to replicate and produce the energy, the spectrum of the fields of the universe. And one of them be the strength of the field, which lead us to the Creator. This is the work, this is what we are targeting for. And this is not just to show we made elements, it's not to show we managed to make a gas. It's a stepping stone towards the ultimate goal, to create that ultimate field which makes us, and that process allows us in that position, create a condition for us to board the line, jump on the line, connect with the line through our soul to the dimension and direction of the soul of the Creator. But we are learning step by step. We are learning gradually. We came in with nothing. We came in with a stick in our hand in the caves. We didn't even know what a fire was, that we understand the energy conversion. We learned step by step about the metals. We mastered them, we alloyed them, we made chemicals. We became nuclear physicists. Now we become plasma physicists, and then we become creator physicists. How do we find a line to our Creator? And then with that, we become the ultimate goal. We become what all the creation is about, to become that parcel of the creation. When you look at the magnetic field of the Earth, it starts from the North Pole and it turns back to the South, as you've seen in many. That Earth is the creator, is the center. And those fields show the way you can get to the center of it and become part of it, create this atmosphere, create this dimension of creation, interaction with others. And this is all the ultimate goal, to be able to jump on one of those fields, that in rotation and movement in the direction of what we call attraction, we become part of, we touch the soul of our Creator within when we go through it. When a magnetic field goes through the Earth, touches what's inside in the center, absorbs energies from it. And as we know, the North Pole of the Sun or the Earth is always slightly warmer than the South, because it's gathered energy, it's gathered magnetic fields from the center. And somehow it's become part of it. And this is the whole subject, this is the whole principle of the teaching, the ultimate goal. Would it come to the point that we can create fields that the interaction of their fields the interaction of field of our soul puts us on that path, that we become in that part of the hemisphere, we become that part of the atmosphere, and rotating, we create the dimension of manifestation of the existence of the Creator. Now you understand what it means. I am the beginning, I'm the end. I'm the creator, and I'm created from the creation of my own. Now, what's the ultimate goal? How do we make that system? To make what, if you go back to the teaching of some months and years ago, I told you many times, make ganses of ganses. That the interaction of the ganses allows you to create that field which leads at the strength, if you get it right at a certain position, the strength of the field to get on that line of the loop of the fields of the Creator. How closer you get in or further you are is the strength you absorbed. And then the closer you become, the more enlightened you become, the more you have to give. The fields of the earth 50 kilometers are cold, and the fields which are near, in interaction with the field of other and the inertia, creates life, condition of life, condition of existence, manifestation, creation. And this is all it is. We are somewhere 500,000 kilometers away from the center. And we are trying to jump in, frog leap, and come into this inner circles to be able to get close enough to earth, close enough to the soul of the Creator, that we manifest, we show the creation and the Creator through His creation. Now you understand. And in the coming time, in the coming days and months and weeks, we endeavor to make that system. We are working on it. We are working on making a system that creates the fields of the Creator, the ultimate goal. And then in the interaction with the soul of the man, becomes the will of the man. I am in command through the interaction of the field of my soul to create what my wishes in a dimension of the wishes of Mitra. We are all servant to her and nothing else. And through serving her, we serve the Creator and nothing else. And Mitra is not the creation, is not the entity. It's the principle of interaction of the fields of the universe. It's the path of living. It's the way you interact to lead to creation of the perfection. Now you understand. All this teaching, all this going from gases to this and that and the Maghreb system and the rest, has been to bring you gradually to the position to be able to create the fields of the creation. Then you become the beginning and you become the end. Depends where you jump into the circle, on the North Pole as it comes out, or on the South Pole as it goes in. But that pole is your soul. That pole is the soul and connection of you with the Creator. Every soul, in the essence of its creation, at the point of its manifestation, has the field line common denominator with the source. There is no life, there is no soul, there is no existence in the universe which has no direct connection to the soul of the Creator. Now is our job to find that, to find the strength of, to create, to build systems within ourselves, outside. Man is genius in building machines to replicate and create that field, that single field that in coming in touch with, in connecting to, we get enlightened. And then we see the whole knowledge of the creation. And we become part of the Creator that itself is created out of its own creation. It's very much, if you read the book 1, is the story of the creation, interaction of the field, which leads to mass and to weight out of interaction of their own by their own. Now where are we going and how we reach this? We have shown in the position and the power creation of some 30, 40 elements and organic elements in the past few weeks. Keshe Foundation, in collaboration with the Chinese military, now endeavors into the next step in the coming days. We endeavor to create a new condition. We endeavor to show the existence, how actually it starts, and where can we enter the fields, and then where can we exit the fields. For you to get from North Pole to the South Pole, if you're lucky, and you're on a rocket, or you can drive and swim and everything else, takes you a few weeks to get from the North Pole to the South Pole, or at least a few days. But the fields of the Earth from north to the south is instantaneous. Now we are interacting with the field of the Earth. What about the fields of the universe, which already interact with the field of the Earth, and we jump on them? And then what about the fields of the unicos, which interacts with us within the structure of our universe, if we get on them? And then we know all these fields comes from the fields existence of the Creator. What about if we jump on that? It's not impossibility, it's the lack of knowledge. It's not that it's in the dream, it's the reality that we have not understood the principle. And now we are sitting in that direction and dimension. In the coming days and weeks, we will show a new dimension, a new structure, a new way to think, to interact, to feed. I walk within the fields of the system and I receive what I need as medicine, as food, as energy, as the interaction fields to interact with the Creator. We are entering a new dimension in science and technology. We are entering into a dimension that we can put a blind near the system and he walks out, that he can see the whole creation, not only the physicality of the man and earth. And how we will develop this position and condition where you can bring a man blind and walk him out, that he can not only see himself with the eye of the man, but opens the eye of the soul of the man to the world of the creation. It's an unknown science, but we have two choices. We can drag you along in bits and bits, or literally drown you in it. And I think drowning the man will be better because he will learn to swim than dragging it and hope he'll one day get to the water. The understanding of the science, the understanding of the technology, the understanding of the knowledge of creation is at the reach of every man. Doesn't need any prophet or any holy book. It needs clarity of understanding. It needs the being in a position to accept, to see, to analyze, and then not to judge. As I always said, repeated most of the time, when you came to this, we said we are not there to judge. We accept what you see, what you see. Some saw the mermaid, and some saw and felt the soul of the Christ. Some went on the moon and touched the stone. And some came to see nothing, came blind and went out blind. The arrogance bring blindness. The servitude bring wisdom, understanding. And that comes through the soul. That comes through the interaction of the fields. In talking to man, man has seen and has to see everything in the dimension of physicality. In talking to the wise man, he understands the wisdom of the creation and sees the fields.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 631st Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 26, 2026. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be your host once again in this weekly series of continuous workshops nonstop for 11 years, I think it is now. And once again, we have the pleasure of having Mr. Mehran Keshe as our main presenter and with the knowledge of the universe. So, Mr. Keshe, please go ahead with your presentation for today.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. As usual, we always welcome you back, and we start what we call another session of seeking knowledge, understanding the process of the creation, but not the way it's been set us to do, to what I call benefit some, but is to benefit us, for us to understand the process, that we choose the path, we choose the way we want to live, and we are what we call prepared to understand about not the atmosphere and the environment we live in, the dimension of the physical life, but atmosphere and dimension that we live in the dimension of energy, or what we call the soul of them. All of us have this access. All of us can reach this position. As we heard in the intro, which was done some teachings 2 years ago or plus, up and down, it talks about the same. The day will come that we can produce systems that we can reach the understanding and development, as man likes to make machines, to the lines, creation of the lines of the strength of the creator, that we can establish a system that we can understand the knowledge of creation. All of you here who are present here, you'll find out through your own structure, your own thoughts. If you're carrying your headsets with you or whatever, you're listening it openly. Today, we have reached that level. Some times ago, we reached the level. We understand how to create the line of connection to the world of the knowledge of the creation. Man goes through schools and colleges and universities to understand the matter state's life and gets specialized in one tiny thing and become arrogant about it, become professors and specialists, and the rest doesn't exist because I understood the peanuts in the haystack of the knowledge of the matter state. Where with the knowledge connecting to the dimension of the creation or the line of connection to the creator, now that we have the knowledge how it works, develop technologies for it to do, you today in this teaching are subject to all of it. We are hammering you beyond your imagination with connection, dimension of the connection to the knowledge of the universe. Many of you, in past couple of months, in every session, one way or another, we have developed, we have set strength, and we set up conditions for you to create that line for yourself. You don't need us, but in a way, it's like a pipe clogged up with a lot of dirt, and it needs a bit of cleaning. And that dirt is what we call prejudices about what we know, that we are unique and the rest of it. And we're cleaning it up in a way that behind your back, a system is there, a detergent, a cleaning agent, which allows you, knowingly or unknowingly, open that access to the line of what we call your creator. You don't need anything else. You don't need us, but we have to develop this system that you can do. In the session tomorrow, which some of you attend, we will hammer you further. In a way, we try to fine-tune it, that you receive everything, and it's your choice what knowledge you want to do. Up to now, you went to see your uncle, your cousin, you traveled to the moon. Now you have access with the new structure to get access to the knowledge of the universe. We are the facilitators. We are the teachers. As a message I sent out of Iran in the past few days, we are teachers. We are universal teachers, not prophets. It's for you to decide which way you take your nation. That the people understand the knowledge, or you still keep them in the darkness of the faith, religion, and all the abuse of it. In a way, through systems we set up, and all of you who are here are getting hammered by it. The people who sit on the panelists see the lines in the background open, and it's how open you are to that knowledge, you get access to it. We have opened the path. In a way, we allow you to convert that knowledge to the knowledge of your understanding. We are streamlining the line, we are opening, we have opened today in this session, the lines that allows you to connect to the knowledge of the universe. In a way, you're sitting in the teaching, not only listening to me, but we have facilitated for you to have access to the knowledge. You have to choose which is knowledge. You have to create that emotion of that knowledge, and you get access to it. In a way, you are today, for the first time, sitting in a class of the universal knowledge. We have facilitated, we have opened the channels. And we have opened the channels in a way that in conversion of the information in your brain, you understand it in the matter state. You analyze it, you understand it. In a way, we are bringing the knowledge of the creation to your brain, to your soul. And then your soul is sending the information, connecting back, translates it to the knowledge of the universe. You wanted to see the Christ. You came to the sessions that it was in the beginning of the intro. You wanted to see your grandma. Now, for the first time, you have access to the knowledge of creation. Our systems running in the background to create that, facilitate that for you as knowledge seekers. It's taken us years of research development to be able to do this. We had to understand, we had to see, we had to understand the connection between the soul and solar physicality and bring it together, and then understand the position of the emotion, that how we can filter these things out. And we have gone today to that level. In a way, you hear my voice, but your soul is connected to universal knowledge. And what you receive and what you give back as a connection line, in a way, as a magnetical field of it, will leave an impression of the knowledge you are looking for. I want to know about how this point works in space. You have the facility we have provided at this moment, at this time, in this teaching, that line. See how you get enlightened. What comes to your head? What do you envisage? How come I suddenly think of this and I get this answer? Because now you can tune into any knowledge in the dimension of the creation outside the boundary of the knowledge of the human race. Hasn't been easy. Tomorrow's session will be much, much harder to do this. We go for a deep understanding of this process that you, as knowledge seekers, understand how to connect. As they said in the intro, once we make the system to do it, then it takes us a few weeks and months. It's taken us months. Now we have developed the technology. In the coming months and years, we fine-tune the system that you can slowly decide, I want to know about the knowledge of universe in field of interaction that creates what you call such a satellite, such a star. What's the knowledge of the universe about creation? But once you access it, you have to understand it's not yours. Once you bring it together, it's not yours. It belongs to the rest of those who have the same connection of the soul. In a way, you become, as you call nowadays, the AI. You can ask the question, but this AI sits in the dimension of the knowledge of the universe, not some random made knowledge on the planet Earth for whatever you can think of. Building this system needs to be spread, needs to become accessible, that is not exclusivity. And hopefully through this knowledge, what we gain as the past few months and years will be implemented on an aerial, which means once you receive your 1N and you receive the aerial attached to it, you can, in a way, connect to the universal knowledge according to you. Don't jump, I want to see this, I want to see that, the system doesn't work. You have to be enlightened. You have to be able to connect to that frequency. You have to understand the knowledge of creation, that in responding back in a way, you go into the classroom. Teacher teaches everything. The knowledge comes to you, but you're thinking about this, that, and the teacher asks you a question. What did you understand? Oh, sorry, I wasn't here. It's the same system. Or you say, I understood, and this is what it is. You give a feedback, and that feedback becomes your knowledge. Now we do the same thing with your soul. We give you access to the knowledge of the universe. Today, all of you in this platform have that access. Our units are set that way. We are sending you dimension of the field strength of the creator, and what your brain, your soul receives from this, converts it, as we explain how carbon-14 is made, as the information sending back to the creator to complete the circle. The impression of the knowledge will stay the way you dream, and then you see your father, your mother, blah, blah, you've never been, because the information going back leaves the impression of physicality dimension in your brain, and you change it to a picture of the mother or whatever. Now you transfer that to the picture, to the knowledge of the creation. So it's not to us anymore. We are not charging you. We not put a meter on your brain, say you have to pay us because we have given you this, that much, or whatever. And then once we get to this point that all of you, majority of you, manages to understand this connection of the development of the knowledge moving from human physical matter state to the knowledge of the creation, then the question is, do you still need crooks, ayatollah, priests, rabbis, and the rest? They abuse you because they themselves don't know. They themselves are a bunch of fraudsters sitting, rubbing their hands, collecting physical matter, where to the knowledge of the universe is in your access. We have the knowledge. We have shared the knowledge for over 11, 12 years, as Rick said. But now today, in this session today, we have given you that access. Those of you who are present here today, tap into it. We are monitoring how your soul separates between the dimension of physicality and the dimension of the soul of physicality of the man and the soul of the man, in how you are responding to yourselves and nobody else. There is no judges in understanding the knowledge of the creation. It's the interpretation of the man, how that knowledge came to me, and what I have to do to create peace, to create balance of the knowledge of the rest of humanity. In a way, you're that spot. It's not yours. Once you receive it, you become the satellite of the knowledge. And then you connect through the soul of the creator in dimension of energy to the rest. You understood how to make hydrogen from the fields of the creator in the dimension of the matter state of it, becomes the knowledge of the rest. Now you understand why patents have no value. How are you going to patent? The knowledge comes to you and you're just a satellite transferring it to the others. It's taken years of development. And it still needs years more of the development, because we have to split this into different dimensions, because each knowledge has its own frequency, has its own dimension of the field strength, has its own magnetic what we call fingerprints that you need to understand to go into. This sign says I'm hungry. This sign says I'm hungry, but I want sugar. This sign says I'm hungry. I want sugar, but I want to get it from Coca-Cola. This sign says I'm hungry. I need sugar, but I can get it from chocolate. And then you classify which chocolate, how much of it, in which package, in what name, which flavors that your body has planned and it can absorb it. Now you're getting to that knowledge of the creation. What knowledge? Which part of it? How much of it? And what I can understand. And because you're a plasma field force, every plasma is connected to the others. You have a common denominator of the creator and the humanity on amino acid of this planet. So your knowledge is not yours. How can you patent it? Because by the time you patent it, because it's come to you free, it's already shared, connected to the others, and the others can tap into it. Now you understand how we do not believe in patenting, because man can patent for the physical matter, but now you're achieving, you are learning to tap into the knowledge of the universe. And there are no patent office, there are no certification, and there are no one to control you in what you hear, what you enlighten with, and what you use, and what you share. There is one punishment. And the punishment of it is, once you understand, once you're enlightened, withholding has its own punishment of not receiving. This is why in my teachings and all the teachings, we teach freely, because the second I stop teaching you, the second what comes to me is held back, for whatever reason, I lose that access, because I block the knowledge to be received. This is why all our teachings are so open, because we are the messengers. And our message is the knowledge of the creation from the Creator, not from us. And when I put that lock on it, I put a lock on me receiving the knowledge of the creation. So now that you are sitting here, all of you, some of you will listen to it in a later time, still the access is the same, because it stays within the structure. Your knowledge has to be free. And no knowledge can be held back. Oh, I found out, I have to patent it. The only thing is, you lock yourself from receiving. And a fool shoots itself in the foot and runs a marathon to win. In a way, when you do that, it's like killing. You will stop the knowledge. You kill your own line of connection to the universal knowledge. Now you understand the principle behind the teaching. Now you understand why we teach so openly. Now you understand why the knowledge, the enlightenment is for everyone and not exclusivity of, I keep it only for military, I keep it for only Iranians, I keep it only for my nation, I only keep it for humans and the rest of it. Because don't forget the other creatures of the universe have access to that common denominator line to the Creator. Is not exclusive. You're another processor. There is a difference that you have to understand very clearly, that the carbon 14 is a reflection of the light of the Creator in energy dimension. And when it slows down, becomes carbon 12, which is you humans sitting in the dimension of amino acid of the connection. So now you understand how, as a humanity, you can change the dimension through the fields of the emotion, through the fields of connection to the Creator. You sit and you wish something, or you do something with what we call the purity of heart. You do it because it's in with you, and then you see something else happens which pleases you. You have created the emotion of connection. You have connected your soul of physicality to your soul, and that soul is connected to everything else. And the feedback is what you wished in the dimension of physicality. How many of you have wished something and it came true? Now you understand you have access to tap into the universal, what we call knowledge. And then when I need, everybody feeds, because I don't go on steal. As I explained in my message to how many of Iran in the past few days, wealth and knowledge has to be halal, has to be like the milk of the mother. Mother doesn't charge you and doesn't put a meter on her breast to feed you. She gives it from the essence of his own creation. Doesn't kill for it. And knowledge and the wealth and the growth of the man should be the same, tapped into the free knowledge, free energies of the universe, which free means not killing, not destroying something to access it. Free is not the free energy, zero energy, and the rest of it, which we saw, people who set it up were a bunch of pedophiles, and we see the rest of it today. Free means I give free, not that be given free to me because somebody else has it. When you're an infant, the milk from breast of the mother doesn't have conditions. It's given freely. You don't kill the mother for it, but it's given to you as a process of the creation. The only problem we have is that we forget from the time we live that breast of the mother, which is the source of life, to the breast of the knowledge, which is the source of eternal life, to bring together that we don't kill another for us to live. We don't kill the cow to get the milk. It's given to us freely. That milk is the same as the knowledge of creation. This, the milk of knowledge is the milk of the connection to the universal energy, which we have access to, and we denied it. And because we denied it, we kill in the physical dimension to get access to survive for another 50 years, 60 years. And we make every trick to be getting one more breath to live. Where if we find the process of connection to the fields of the Creator, which feeds our soul, which feeds us, then we don't need to kill, and we live for eternity. And this is the whole purpose of the teaching of today, for you to understand. Exactly, for the first time, we have brought you to the university of the knowledge of the creation, and in the background system are running flat, providing that. It's you who has to open up to it. You have to connect to the system. That then through it, to the knowledge of the creation and the creator, you receive and convert that energy to the material state of the energy of it, which you call it through carbon-14, to the knowledge, to the energy of the body of the man. Then you don't need to kill, you don't need to pattern, you don't need to look for the knowledge of the universe, because as you think about it, it'll reveal itself to you, but it's not yours. In a way, your mother, when gives you the milk from her breast, you are one of the users. If you have twins, the other one has access to the same source. There is no exclusivity. If there is a child which has no mother or has sex no another, does your mother tell the child you can't have because this is mine and my child? She feeds you because the love of the mother is free. The same is the love of the Creator. You've never been charged from the moment you were born. No charge from the second you were embedded in the womb of the mother till you decided, as a maturity of the soul and physicality, that I decide what to eat. And then responsibility of the mother is to nourish you unconditionally. It does not matter if you're my child or another child from a mother alive, or I find you on the street. It is not conditioned to nothing but the love of the mother, and the love of the mother is the same as the love of the Creator. He does not charge us for it. He never charges for it. It's us who created that condition, that we create separate position for ourselves to give ourselves separation of the connection between the emotion of the physicality, the emotion of the soul of the man, and the emotion of the soul of the Creator. Today, we have made every possible effort for you as knowledge seekers to be able to access what we call the knowledge of the universe. Tap into it. You have another hour or two. See how you feel. See how does that knowledge enlightens you in whatever subject. Maybe there is a reason you have come to this knowledge today or tomorrow or in the next few days, because once you set up the chain will lock itself into it. As I said, we have the knowledge, and freely we are inviting you to tap into the energy of the universe and tap into the knowledge of the universe and see what's your enlightenment. But understand, once you understand it, it's not yours. It belongs to everyone and has to be the source of what I call enlightenment of the others, for the others to live the life of the creation at the same strength of the Creator. I made man in the image of myself, as I am forgiver, I am generous, unconditional lover. That's once you are achieve that point of what we call enlightenment, you become the same. Till we enlighten the others, until through the enlightenment we facilitate the humanity and the other races of the Creator to become free, detached from the material state of destroying and killing, that we all suckle from the breath of the knowledge of the universe and the creation for our knowledge and existence, and man shall not kill. Understand the teaching of today, because this touches your morality. This touches you in respect to yourself. This puts you in line with understanding of yourself and how you are and what I wished and what I had and what I wanted. Now I have access to what am I going to do with it and how I'm going to share with it and how I'm going to distribute this knowledge through my emotion and not through my writing, pen, and the mouth. This is a very, very tricky point for many of you, because try to understand what has come to you as knowledge in past few minutes, in past half an hour, next day, 2 days, 2 years, because you established the system with us, and understand how this knowledge is what I was looking for, and how I can utilize this knowledge and give it freely for the others to use, as by the law of the creation I'll be looked after. This is the total understanding of the process of the creation. You were happy, you had goals, but the true goal comes when you open the soul of the man to the knowledge of the universe and understand it's not physical gold that matters. It's emotion of gold, which brings man to his knees to thank his creator, how ignorant I've been about the process of the creation. And I've chosen the matter state to the dimension of the energy which creates that matter. Please stay with us today as much as you can. We're trying to keep this line open and try to get yourself enlightened. It's not the exam time and there is no failures. It's just that we have set up a structure to bring you the process of you to understand the knowledge which you would like to know. This time, as I said, it's not the mother or the father. It's for you to understand the energy of the universe. I don't want to eat. Understand how you can tap to energies of the universe. That energy becomes a food to yourselves that guarantees you survival, that does not kill. Be wise in what we teach today, because this is the wisdom of the creation. And it's the first time man has ever been allowed to access the energy, the knowledge, the openness of the knowledge of the creation by himself. You do not need, as I said, charlatans, ayatollahs, mullahs, priests, rabbis, and the rest. We go for a small break, we come back. And as noticed recently, teachings are very short because the knowledge of it is so in depth that you need to understand. Is the quantity which does not matter. It's the quality in what you achieve with yourself which matters, and not what we teach you. We show the guide, we set up the lines, we show you the way we understood, and then it's for you to understand how much you are hungry for the knowledge of the creation and how that can be fed by the process of the creation. We take us for a small break and then we come back and we see what we understand.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. All right, as Mr. Keshe mentioned, we will have a break now, and when we come back, we'll have an opportunity for our attendees here in the Zoom chat that they can raise their virtual hands and have an opportunity to speak to Mr. Keshe and ask a question. You can also put questions in the Q&A or in the chat if you like as well, and also in the chat in YouTube. All right, just going to play the GAN's Household Reactor, and we'll be back after that. Okay, we are back again at the 631st Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 26th. And as mentioned, because it's the second part, we will have an opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Keshe. I see there's a hand up already. And before that, though, I'm sure Mr. Keshe will have a thing or two to say before we begin that process. So please go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. We are setting up a process that a lot of you can receive information and knowledge as part of the enlightenment and start feeding yourself in different ways according to what you need. Tap into the universal energies, tap into the universal knowledge is our main part. And today we're setting up that process. It won't happen instantaneously. That's because you wish it. If you don't knock on the right door or don't have the right strength, feel the strength of the what we call access to the world of creation, it'll become very hard. And then you have to answer yourself, how? What's the problem? Why can't I? Look within. Don't look in the holy books, because there's nothing holy with them. Look inside within your holy soul and see what you understand of yourself and what knowledge you want to understand and how you can share that knowledge freely with yourself first and the others. Then it's not your job to interpret. Every soul will interpret according to what it needs from the knowledge you have shared. And try to understand very well where you stand. You're just a tool, you're another satellite and not the owner. Tomorrow's session is set to start at 12 o'clock, lunchtime, Central European time. And then we will bring a new gameplay. Come with 2 headphones. And those of you who have with you cosmic ray balls, come in with them. You have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Bring everything into play. And try to place them around your head in shape or forms you know, that there is no limitation into it. Put it on a hat, put it on a scarf. It's your dimension in what you call in, and see what enlightenment you receive. Because part of it will bring your emotion of physicality and emotion of soul together, and you have to see what dimension it opens you. You want to transmute really, or do you actually want to gain knowledge? What knowledge you want, in what strength, and how? Tomorrow is a good session for you to start, because we go to another step of the knowledge, but in a totally different way. I have informed the Iranian government that in today's teaching, we have a direct message for the American administration. This is not something private, it is on behalf of the Iranian nation, and without attachment to the process of Iran leadership. As we see, the wars is looming upon us, and even the meeting of today in Geneva is just a cover-up for an excuse that we gave every chance. And consequently and subsequently will bring a lot of deaths, a lot of what I call unnecessary half-mature souls. We see a pattern, and as I said, and I informed the office of Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran in the past few days, and it's all recorded. What the Americans should know, and what is your responsibility as knowledge seekers to cover it on every part of the media today, tomorrow, whenever, is that the Iranian nation does not need a nuclear weapon. We can give our 440 kilogram of enriched uranium freely to any nation. As I suggested, We are prepared to dilute and to serve as a supplier. And as you see, part of my structure and what I call consultation with the Iranian government in past few weeks has led to part of the negotiation in Geneva and in Amman. What do you hear? Change of position, reduction, which has been against the line of Iranian government for past years, has changed through the recommendation and the share of the reason why with the Iranian team. Our advice to the American government and negotiator is, why do you want to kill a donkey when there is a jumbo jet and the advanced technology in hand? We can produce as many tons of weapon-grade, 99% enriched uranium at will at any time. If any attack happens to the Iranian nation, this knowledge will be shared openly, directly with every nation on this planet. How to make a nuclear weapon, how to make a nuclear material, because it has no value, because we have access to the technology and the knowledge of cosmic rays that supersedes the donkey. I have asked, and the recording of my voice and the confirmation by the Iranian authorities, for the Iranian negotiating in Geneva to put this on the table. Part of what we asked to change the direction with the option with the Iranian government, we were told, we put on the table of discussion in past two discussions, and prior to that. But Iran is failing, Iranian negotiating team is failing to put the final point in. They keep on saying we have access to technology that makes nuclear obsolete. We have no wish to make nuclear weapon because we have access to technology of what you call plasma, which is still the infancy of cosmic ray technology. There is no need for war. There is no need trying to destroy, because the knowledge which supersedes nuclear is already in the hand of the Iranian scientists. I asked it to be shown. I confirmed it to be put forward to show. There is a reason for it, as half of our negotiating are not Iranians. Most of our leadership are not Iranians. And they see their own private interest ahead of the nation of Iran. Our newly appointed replacement for Ayatollah Khamenei, Mr. Lajabadi, is Iraqi, and his 4 brothers. Our negotiating team, headed by Mr. Arakchi, his name is on it. He's not Iranian. He doesn't give a hoot what happens to Iran. The only thing these people are interested is the bank accounts of them and everything else. The voice of the Keshe Foundation from this house is the voice of Iranian nation, without participation of the agents of Israel, agents of America, agents of England, and the rest of it. Our head of religious leader to be Mr. Larijani is born in Baghdad, in Arab nation, not in Iran. How can he have any feeling for the Iranian nation? Our negotiating team, led by Mr. Arakchi, as his name says, Iraq. He is from Iraq. He's not Iranian. We are a peaceful nation infiltrated by the Arabs. The technology is in the hand of the Iranians and not the Arabs. It's no use destroying a nation when those who are there just to loot it and they have no connection with it. My voice regarding instruction to Ayatollah Khamenei, by mistake or by will, for a very short time, appeared on the Malta Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers. Then it was deleted. If you had downloaded it, destroy it. The Iranian government had an option till 6 o'clock this morning to respond. Otherwise, we go out with what we have and we make it very clear. The Iranian appointed leadership to be are not Iranians. They don't care about the nation of Iran. Gets nuclear, get bombed, and the rest of it. The technology is in the hand of the scientists at Sharif Tehran University, Iran Space University, which are all Iranian, pure Iranians. The nation of Iran. If anything happens to Iran, the Iranian nation, the Iranian scientists will release the technology above nuclear to every nation on this planet. Mr. Arakchi, you're negotiating in the next few hours with the Americans. You were instructed what to say and how to deal and open the door of plasma technology and cosmic ray technology, which Iran is proud of, to the Americans to understand the knowledge of nuclear. The reason we say we don't make it because it's obsolete. My call goes to Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran. Your term is finished if this is not done. The same to Mr. Replacement and his brothers. If you understand, Mr. Larijani's father was Ayatollah who came with Khomeini, and the 4 sons wear the civilian clothes, the 5 sons, and they're exactly the replication of Rothschild family, but they use the Iranian nation to siphon billions out of Iran. They have no blood in Iran except cleaning a house rich with culture, rich with wealth, and rich with knowledge. I informed, and the recording video will be released in a future time, that this will go out. If you have access to the White House, if you have access to any American negotiation, we asked the negotiation to be moved out of Geneva into a safe position, and we asked where to be. We were told that your points will be discussed on the negotiation table in Geneva. I was told part was discussed last time. We moved the position of Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran from no nuclear material negotiations, except we keep, to what you see we have. It's taken a lot of work from us to them. Those who are close to me, they know how hard I worked with the team in Iran to bring this point on. President Trump of Iran, America. Iran as a nation is a peaceful nation. We have access to the technologies beyond your imagination. We do not need nuclear, but we do not need war. My recording of my voice to Ayatollah Khamenei, as I said, some of you know, you informed me by mistake, was put up Maltese, and we immediately deleted it. We have run everything in the background. Many of our decisions became part of the Iranian government policy, and today inform the White House. If you have any of you in any shape or form, put it on the social media. None of the negotiating team sitting across the table with the American Geneva is Iranian. None. Not even our leadership, not Mr. Larijani, not Mr. Arakchi and the rest. Negotiate with the Iranians with peace talks, not with guns. And we open the technology that is in the hand of the Iranians, not the Arabs. In the name of peace. Those of you who have access in Geneva, get this to the American negotiating team. And those who have access to Iranians, let them hear. Why should Arabs negotiate for the peaceful nation of Iran? Talk with us, we negotiate as Iranians. No need to kill and no need to create mayhem for a nation. Thank you very much. We answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Well, speaking of Iran, we do have a hand up from Mehran. If you'd like to go ahead first, Mehran, please do so.
Yes, thank you, Rick. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, very much for all you do for the peace. There is no need the bloodshed and destruction and a lot of money engaged. Anyway, I had a question about today's program. What's the difference between the universe and the creator's field? Which one is inside the other one?
In the creation fields creates the universe.
Yes.
But the interesting point, which is always is in the background, is the knowledge or understanding that how did the first ray of the creation was created. Is the dimension of physicality and reality. Are we actually dealing with a mirage of the fields, or actually life is real? By the law of nature, a magnetic field from point of strength moves to the direction of the royal field, and the question is, what is the royal field that the field of the creator moves towards? As I said many years ago, it takes one atom of hydrogen to fill the gap from here to the moon and any stuff, because it has to fill in the space gap. What does our universe or unicos, which space gap does it cover? Where did it come from to become a center to create that space gap? In the teaching of last week, I explained in a week before, in a way, that the Earth is a nursery, that it nourishes a soul, and in completion of this nourishment, our soul moves to the position where its balance is. That's why we are created. Our soul are created to be in this environment. Then it finds its position as a field, not as a matter. Our matter state goes 6 foot under in a coffin, but our energy matter becomes free, embedded in the universe as a central point. The question to ask is, whose soul, what created thing soul, or what collection of the fields was that in its freedom became the soul, the energy center of our creator, our universe, our unicos? Is what we call our universe, what we call our unicos, because it has a dimension we can't see at the end of it yet. As I said, is everlasting dimensional motion. Which part of a structure of a bigger structure is that we cannot even discuss because we cannot even comprehend it. So, as the field of our soul with the interaction of the fields of the matter state, inertial state leads to the creation of our physical body, our cells, our organs, which came from amalgamation of the sperm and egg of our creators, our parents. And its freedom, maturity became center of another star in the universe. Where did the soul, where did the center, where did the energy of our creator has come from? That in the motion to cover the space of it has led to the creation of this universe we are with, this unicos we live within, and what is beyond it. One body has one soul, one center which controls. Is the soul of creator, which is dimension of motion of its fields with its environment, has led to the creation of the universe and the unicos we see. Where did it come from? What is the origin of it? All this universe we see, all this unicos we see, is it a cell in the body of a larger structure? Is it a kidney? Is it an eye? Is it an organ, or is it part of a structure of a created things that is taking its position? And with all the knowledge we have, we cannot even see the end of it. That its field leads to creation of this universe, that the interaction of the fields of it leads to creation of our galaxy, our star, our planet, and us. Are we, through our soul, the final point of restarting the seed? We are that seed, as we call it, the plant which goes on the what I call mercy of the wind, that where it takes us for us to be planted or dropped, that we grow another flower in the bed of the energy of the universe. The question is very simple. We are created out of the fields of, but where did that field come from? If our soul leads to creation of the stars and galaxies, what soul is there that has led to creation of this universe? One day I teach. When the man is ready, I teach.
Yeah, thank you. And I have also the question that the fields which create the soul of the new concepted existence, when the egg and the sperm get together, and the field which comes to this body to create the soul of that child, the future, is it different species of fields than the other things?
What do you mean?
So no matter what kind of field can come and create the soul of the new baby. It's not the different fields that create matter, for example. Yeah, I wanted to see if the souls
No,
are that
because
somewhere.
we are a collection of the fractions of the fractions, which when they get together, they can make a whole sum. In a way, if you look at the process of the creation, the most meaningless little thing we call an egg and the sperm come together and lead to the creation of the body of the man. Two tiny things then leads to creation of a man who thinks is the center of everything, but leads to the creation of the energy, which leads to the creation of another cycle in the energy level of the man. So we are those, in a way, you can't go any lower. Now, as you got to the low, it's a phoenix in a way. By destruction of the matter state, would reach the freedom of the what we call the birth. The true phoenix, if you think of it, is the life of the man. Resurrection. By burying the physicality, from it comes the freedom of the energies, the soul of the man, which a new life, a new cycle of life in the world of creation starts. Many times when I listen to these poetries and how the story of the phoenix started and the rest of it, and how it's been used, it brings me back to the knowledge of the creation. This is what is the life of the man, and is hidden in the word, in the life of a bird. We bury the man, we burn the man, which is tradition in China and many European countries, in India and the rest. And we don't realize when we bury that, when we burn that bird, from it comes that free soul, which is that bird which leads to a new creation, much, much bigger and more beautiful than the physicality which burned. That's all it is. But how can a poet put this into understanding of a science?
So is there
Pardon?
Is there a place for all the souls?
Universe. Oh,
So
planet with spaces.
it's in the soup of the universe. It's mixed with everything else.
Yes, we become part of. We are part of. In the voice recording to Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran this week, there are 5 recordings which has gone directly to Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, addressing him because we have a position of contact for years and we always been listened to what the benefits are. I explained as you know, knowledge seekers, the explanation of hell and heaven, referring back to the recent killing in Iran. As I explained to Ayatollah Khamenei, I said those who give the orders, the soldiers who shoot, they are all responsible. And the hell and the heaven is on this planet. Because it's the position. It's like a lover. The worst thing for a lover is to be further from his loved one. When you kill, you destroy, you move into the back of the line away from the lover, because the soul is the lover, not the man. And that's the hell, that's the punishment. And how we are there to facilitate, not to, brings us that much closer to the Creator. And how much we decide to understand the process of the creation according to what we want from our soul to be in the next position. The biggest mistake man always makes is, I do what I like, my soul, when it goes, it's his job, nothing to do with me. You are part of the physical characteristics of that soul. The soul of physicality moves on because it's another circle of energy. You are that electron. This time instead of being outside, you are inside. When a neutron itself is the soul of the man. It has to find its dimension of physicality. Then you understand your physical condition dictates the position of your soul. And
Yes.
this is what one doesn't see.
There's
Yes.
a program, yeah, there's a program in Iran during Ramadan that every day, every week, there is a university psychiatrist which has a project on death after this life and coming back again. And each time people write and they bring them, but they have a group that testify what they say. And they say, for example, after, during the sheer surgical operation or accident, they go, they leave, they go other places. So they send people to verify all that. And most of them that are good people because they have a better view, better scenery, better treatment. They say that that word, which I went while I was dead physically, and was much more real than this word. The colors were much more bright. The rain had every drop of rain was singing, had life. So uh, does it mean that there is a universe for the soul, a place for the soul, that if the person has done good, goes to that place, which they are so passionate about that, and mostly they
No,
say,
it's not the place where the soul goes. Sorry, we don't have a collection of the souls parked there till we find a place for you. Our soul position in the cycle of life is predetermined by what we collected here, what we done, and how we do it. It's simple. It's not that we park our car and wait in the waiting list where is the next place to go to. The instant you are separated from the physical body, the energy fields we call the soul, its place, its position is instantaneously arrives at it. Doesn't hang around, wait for it. You know, they say a lot of people, there's a ghost. The ghost is not the soul of the man. It's the combination of physicality with the energy of the physicality which is left behind. It's not even the soul of physicality. I lived in the house in Vienna some time ago. And this happened 2 or 3 times. I sat in a room, the door open to my study on the first floor. You call the second floor in some languages, but not on the ground. And I saw clearly a man with a black robe going from the balcony in the, what you call it, landing, we call it in English, into the study. Because he had a table there in that study, was not moved when we took over the house, that table and the chair from him was left in the study. When I saw this the first time, I thought, just something I think about. I saw it for the second time. I saw it for the third time over span of time. Then I asked my housekeeper that, do you see anything different in this house? She said, yes, there is somebody moving and I see things, I feel things, but I'm scared to tell you. I said, explain to me. And she explained to me what she says. She says, I'm scared to come into this building and you're always here. You will do your work here. And I went to the lady who used to own this building. And I said, can you tell me one thing? does your husband look like this and has such a thing? She said, yes. How do you know? I said, I see him. He doesn't want us or me to be in this house. What's the reason? She wouldn't explain. But the description I gave to her was a description of her husband. This made me think, I've never had these kind of encounters ever in my life. It's just that it happened just by coincidence and everything else. It brought much more clear understanding of the soul of the physicality and the soul of the man and what we call the ghost. And a lot of things connected to the what our energy leaves behind in interaction with the dimension of physicality, why we take the shape of whatever. And how we explain this. What was the connection? Why always his desk and his table? As is mine, do not go. I don't want you to sit, because I used to do a lot of work on that desk. It's what the energy stays behind in the dimension of physicality and possession, where the soul is not there. They call it, people come, the soul has not left. But clearly we understand how this works. Nothing to do that there's something left behind. Is the soul of the physical remain in the same, even the order which makes that, brings that manifestation of physicality. And if you know how to handle this, it should be very easy to explain it. We don't come back, we don't die and come back and see things and then bring the knowledge. We go through the dimension of separation of the soul and physicality, and what we see, the pattern of all the people who went to somewhere and come back is always the same, because they go through the barriers of the energy of the soul crossing the dimension of physicality. Is like a coma, it's like a dream. But the soul of physicality has not led the soul to separate. That's why it's pulled back together. It again opens up in a way back to its source. And they always tell you they've seen the light. We understand exactly what it is, because it's like a star works, the daylight. And a lot of people try to interpret it, but you have to interpret yourself, the knowledge, and then you understand it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. If the soul has not left the body of the man, the death is not there. If the soul of physicality stays and can hold into the soul, you always come back. It's just like a long dream. And the energy release is so high that it creates that daylight. We always see the flash of this. We went to the peaceful with light, because you can explain it. But the soul of physicality, which is circulation of the energy of the blood of the man, is not released. So they say, come back. We tested this, and I explained this in other teaching. We tested this with a live case, where the total brain was taken out, but the soul was not touched. And the person was alive with more or less 1/3 of the brain. You see this in some MS cases. I've seen 2 or 3 like this, where the brain shrinks to about 1/4 of its normal size. The head is empty. You have the MRI I'm trying to see if I can share a picture with you, then you understand. We had a case where why don't I get the right? Rick, I think you have to go out for me to be able to establish a whiteboard, or you have to establish the whiteboard. New whiteboard. Yep. Maybe I'm coming in. Okay. We had a lady. She was brought to me in Ninob. No, it was in near Ninob. And then she came back in Ninob. If this is the face, and this should be the head, she had no head. Literally, she was flat. Then we had another case where you have the head, when you look at the MRI, the pattern, the original MRI years before, this was the shape of the brain. But when we had the lady living in Antwerp, the brain, actual brain size was this. And all this space in the brain was free. It was an empty space. But original MRI, the brain was years ago this shape. So the brain shrunk. The lady used to live on a like a tabletop bedroom. She still could walk or drag herself, but the brain was a quarter of what it was years ago. It shrunk together. But the soul, what we call the soul, was still in its position. Because when we studied the neurosystem, or what we call the structure of the nerves, from here down, everything was normal. With the same with this lady, they took the brain off. The head was flat. When I saw her, if I can find it. Yeah, the head was like this. It had nothing. The head was literally like this. The hair, forehead, the hair was here. They took the brain out, everything. But, and as I said, the rest of the neurosystem was working. The soul was left. In the surgery of the brain surgery tumor, they did not touch where the soul is. She was in the bed. When I saw her, they brought her first time on a wheelchair. And then I met her at her house. She couldn't remember that she's gone for a walk. There is a video somewhere in the archive shows this. And she goes back on the bed and says, "Did I walk?" I said, "Yes, this is your video. This is not me, I cannot walk." So the soul is not touched. The soul is not touched. Physicality is still here. If the doctors would have taken this part out, the lady would have been dead, physically died. But when the soul is there, does not need the physical brain, the soul of physicality, which comes from the circulation of the blood and every cell energy in the body of the man, keeps that established position. When that blood circulation, magnetic field circulation of the blood, clearly understand, we're talking magnetic field circulation of the blood, not the blood itself. This is why when you have heart attacks, there is no blood circulation. You pump the blood and you come back, because the energy fields of the soul is still operating, the soul of physicality. And in operating, it holds on to the soul. That's why you get resuscitated. You can come back. If this process takes a long time to establish, long time to create, or a separation between the what we call the soul and soul of physicality comes, then you get that. And then you die. As long as the soul of physicality can keep this line in the energy of the blood circulation, magnetic field of the cells of the body of the man, whatever you see is what the energy is going out, but the memory still works because the energy is there. And then you see, I went there because now the soul is only working, physicality has no dimension, and you see, in a way, what you call the dream now. The pressure has gone, cap is open, you see connections with whatever it is, and then they come and say, we've seen this in town, that no, this is exactly what you do when you dream. The blood pressure field drops, you can escape, go and see, they call it a dream. Now it's the same process as it. We understand this fully. And maybe in the future, scientists will develop a technology that can encapsulate this field, and then they can show how the soul is hanging till this encapsulation is gone. We can make, I worked on this, we can make a Faraday box, or as Professor Miles says, the reverse of it, to hold, if we can create, it's possible to make a reactor which within its structure carries all the amino acid copy of the man, that can entrap the soul of the man in a confinement and then return it back in. And then you will see what things you'll see. Nothing, because the connection is severe, the connection is still in. You just expand the position of the soul of the man outside the physicality and return it back in. This is possible. In the future, scientists will do it. But if you don't have that Faraday cage, so the soul will travel to its position. But if the soul of physicality is strong in the dimension of the fields, still to hold on to this position, you will find out that the rest of, I went somewhere, I've seen something coming back, is exactly how you dream, but this time soul of physicality had a weaker connection, but the information has left imprinted on the, what do you call it, on the cells of the brain, and it came back as on this one. I think what you call eddy current, or whatever you call it, what does the Professor Miles calls it, different word. If we can create such a box, then we can hold on to the soul of the man and put it back in and see the physicality comes back. And this is what happens in those positions, people who go in this state, but they come back and they say they've seen things. In a way, the box is open, but the soul of physicality has not finished this work, or it's still connected to the physicality. And it pulls it back because it cannot go very far. I'm still here. You have to take me with you, or what do you call it, separated from you. And then in those positions, you use, like in enlightenment, you see different dimensions without the interference of the physicality. Because most of the dreams we do, even at night, it still has connection with the physicality of the. That's why we dream about the people we know a lot. And the ones we see, say, I had a strange dream, such and such a thing happened. And we are aware of other souls, what other souls do and what it is. And we know, especially the ones we are very close with, we know, we feel, because we come through some connections with them, the time of the separation. We feel it because if it's the mother, if it's a brother, if whatever, we have a connection of the soul with the source, with the soul. We know the time of separation. We feel it inside us that he has separated because we feel that connection because it's connected to us. I remember I was in South Korea negotiating with Samsung and the South Korean presidential office to transfer the technology in 2008, April of 2008. And if any of you have been to Seoul, you know where the Olympic Park is. And there's a hotel there. And for security reasons, I was kept in this hotel on one floor. And I went there with a team of South Koreans. We went for lunch, and we always walked from the restaurant up the top of a small hill to the hotel. And I saw a bird walking next to me because I was walking, even it was on the grass, chip, 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 chapping. I said to the bird, "You brought the message as my mother died." I know. And the bird flew. I walked into the hotel. I received a call that my mother has passed away. We have these connections. We ignore it because it's easier, because we can't handle it. And it's how we connect and what we can accept. Then anybody can read into it out of the ignorance of the people. Any other question?
Thank you very much, sir. I hope there would be peace and some sick souls don't waste the money they have to spend for their own people on another Vietnam War, because Iran has its allies and they have promised to uh, affect completely the economy of petrol, and the whole West would suffer for some few people, pedophiles or whatever, who want to make money. So I hope people are intelligent enough not to let another long-term war, and Iran would win, because in Iran, the Shiite culture means anybody who is killed for the country is a martyr, has respect, the family are respectable, the best advantages. So killing is not a matter for Iranian soldier, and people don't understand this. At the same time, they are very peaceful people. It's a culturally they respect peace and they are open to humanity, and that's why they are taking advantage of these people. Away from Larijani or Arakchi, which anybody says they are working for their own pocket and not for Iranian benefits. It shows, so I hope that we don't see another Vietnam War in the region, and petrol and problems in the West totally. And of course, they regret it because they have regretted Afghanistan, they have regretted Iraq. They had spent a lot of money and they had to get back. And this time with Iran is the last war for them, according to what SEPA and others have promised. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. We have compiled evidence that the people who killed in Iran in the past couple of months, we saw them being recruited, we saw them put in cars in Iraq, we saw them coming to Iran. It's all documented. And we see them when they leave and travel back to Baghdad airport, how they talk, how many people they've killed. Killing in Tehran was done by Iranians. Iraqis bought Iraqis to kill Iranians. It's all well documented, and the picture of these people is videoed. They'll be brought to justice.
And people understand that. People have really passion for their soldiers, for their policemen, because from outside, they don't understand the culture of Shiite in Iran and how passionate they are and why they are working. They're working for Imam Zaman, they're working for Imam Hussein, for martyrdom. So it's completely another culture from the West.
I talk about the culture of Zoroaster, which is in our blood, and the culture of peace. But we have to understand how they are funding the whole process, but we have to understand there is too much information because you got to understand once the Iran falls, the next one is China. We see a bigger war. But Iran is at the moment, as I said, is a religious war between the two sides, which have been fighting each other on the sides of themselves, for themselves, but using a nation as a, what do you call it, a space camp. Thank you very much. Well,
thanks a lot. God
thank
bless
you very much. Is there any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. We have a number of questions in the Q&A, and I'm sure we'll probably run out of time, but we do have another hand up, which I like to address first, from Aliraza, or something around that pronunciation. And let me allow you to speak, and you can open your microphone there.
Oh, hello.
What is the name, and where are you from?
My name is Alireza, and I'm from Iran, and I'm living in Iran right now. Good day to you, Mr. Keshe. I wanna show another side of situation in Iran that matters healthcare system and the situation we trapped at. The situation we trapped at is a traumatized society we face with, and it harms everybody. And it should be considered very seriously. As I said, we trapped in its situation because we can't do anything physically, and it's the result of an economic collapse that many people are hungry and number is increasing. And I want to know what's your advice to the healthcare community like me. I'm a nurse in Iran, and the other doctors.
As you know, I know who you are. I know your background partially. Our position is to serve the nation. Does not matter Iran or outside, or any other culture or any other nationality. We are not the only people which has been in these positions. We are not the only one in the recent past or past centuries. The position for us does not matter what, is to move back into the self-survival, which means with the teaching we've done, if you would have understood, if you would have, what you call, called back on, is to use the technology to create a condition of sustainability through knowledge. We have taught heavily on ganses and how to use it, how to create dimensional fields and energy, that you do not need to economically live to be short of medicine or short of food. The situation, and this is part of the, hopefully, in next few weeks and months as we release the ONNs, is to be able to fulfill what's the shortfall of this planet on the food and energy that nobody can ever use. As nurses, as people, we know a lot of doctors, some highly qualified doctors that are on the line. I know them from different universities in Iran, medical doctors in Tehran and around Iran, which listen to these teachings. Go back to Ganses, try to understand the process of the energy transfer. You can feed yourselves and your people. You can find cure for your patients. And with it, try to use the process to strengthen the morale, or what you call the peace within people. We've seen, Iran is not the only one. We've seen Syria in past years, Iraq, we've seen Vietnam, we've seen Venezuela, we've seen Africa over centuries. And the time is to go back. You have, as I said, it's the first time in the knowledge that we can transfer from energy to matter, matter to energy. You have the matter which can go to energy to confirm you don't need necessarily the matter end of it. You need the energy of the transfer to that end. Like the way we've done in Corona time. Try to create a condition where you can utilize the energy, then the matter state is not. We are working on this in a different way across Keshe Foundation, because we are looking at the overall structure. One of my hopes is that this units of ONNs, sooner they sort out these complications. Every time they find a new problem, we did apparently this week again, they're ratifying, becomes part that we can mass produce the antennas or connections of it, that through it we can feed humanity. One day I explain. By just adding it to your mobile phones, you receive what you need. And unfortunately, we are not in that position at this time to deliver this in Iran. You have the technology, you have the knowledge, we have shown that it works. And try to use it. Try to, not only in Iran, in every part of the world, even in America, the bills are so colossal, people can't afford healthcare. In Africa, people don't have the money to afford the healthcare. But knowledge gives you have to have the knowledge to it. We don't have to chew everything with you, spoonful with you. You should have done that by now, but on the other hand, the foundation is working in that way to bring this knowledge. And if you are late for Iran, if you're late for other nations to these mongering of man for ownership finishes, we have to change the soul of the man. And that's exactly where the shortfall is.
Yes, Mr. Cash, but there is just one problem. And
Not one, there are
it's that,
many problems.
no. It's that this situation cannot be forgettable. This what's happened before
You
cannot be
see,
forget,
no, you
cannot be
see,
consolidated.
no, you see, you look at Iran, we had the same situation in Syria a few months ago. We had the same situation in Palestine. We had the same situation in Ukraine. We have the same situation in Iraq and the rest of it. It's not just us. It happened to Congo. Millions of Congolese died, they killed a couple of centuries ago, a few centuries ago, for the wealth of the land. That time was gold. Didn't Belgium kill how many millions in Congo? how many thousands were killed in America from what we call the natives. We look at this just because it concerns us. It cannot. Time will change, and the processes with the knowledge to change. We, you see that, for example, I'll give you an example. Mr. Moss, with 5,000 satellites, want to do 25,000 satellites. They can add to their system that these satellites can feed humanity. It costs nothing. It costs literally nothing. Because it can, the knowledge is there. Why doesn't it done? What is it done? Because they are well to be the first trillionaires. The target is not to help, it's just to be ego trip. The process, we look at it, it cannot be changed because it's where we are born, where we are connected to. But this process is right across everywhere. Do you hear how many Americans are dying in America of hunger every day? Because they cannot afford, there is no food. You think Iran is the only one. How many people in South America? How many people in Africa every die because the leaders are stealing and siphoning off as much as possible, because what's going to happen? As I said once to a friend of mine, you know, in the past centuries, who's the richest people in this process? Where these people steal and bank it, and because they are dead, nobody get access to it. And is used by those who are the bankers. The only benefit we see out of these billions of dollars stolen, billions of dollars for the people taking, is to the benefit of no one. It all goes in the bank. They can't spend. And what happened? The replication of it, the implication of it, unless we change the field of this planet, unless we be able to transmit or deliver energy at the level of the soul, which is part of the technology development of today, is this to top up what this planet has not got in its characteristics, and we cannot do it from inside. So in a hidden way, when the discussion about that one all came, or then the new unit was the best way for us. We can do what is shortfall from the planet. These units, through the antenna we developed, will fulfill. Not part of it, a whole lot of it. Because they have to, you look at it, that we have so many 10,000 units connecting, and they cannot be destructed. Yes, because you connect those to your internet. But don't forget, we are adding an addition to this unit, the antenna part, which connects the field energy, and part of this is the structure of the soul of the man, and today's teaching is part of it. We are monitoring how you as knowledge seekers are behaving today. What do we see with your souls? I've received the last data about 28 minutes ago. And before that, we are monitoring how our technology, what is in the background, is affecting your emotions. And what your knowledge are received by you, and is it received by your soul, but the soul of physicality, and what knowledge you'll come up with. It's a technology has to be, what's the shortfall of, it's like your Red Cross. When a nation cannot feed itself, we take material to feed them to cover for the time being. And now we're setting up a humanitarian Red Cross, what this planet cannot give. We are trying to bring that it can be done scientifically, technologically. And don't look at that, it cannot be done in Iran, what is best. Just go back to my grandfather's time. First World War. You lost 30,000, 20,000, 50,000 in one day. We lost 15 million. More than the whole of the Second World War, First World War in Iran because of the hunger created by the British. And this, again, is by British. Go into the detail of how this thing is happening. Why the delays in attacking Iran by the Americans? Because British pulled the rug, because now their own handmade agent is our new religious leader appointed, Mr. Larijani. This again back goes to the politics. We don't interfere, we don't enter. Our job is to fulfill that there is no need for position in place. So, to use important what's happening in Iran today. A few months ago, what's happening important to the Syrians, with the Ukrainians, then with the Russians. 300,000+ Russian soldiers have died in past 4 years. They say it's even more. When you go to South China Sea, when you go to China, the main tourists are Russians because they can't go anywhere else. China is the only way they have a visa-free travel. They're barking on the suns, they're traveling the spaces of Beijing and the rest of it. You get the Ukrainians, 300 billion has been spent in Ukraine in past 4 years. Excess of 300 billion. Over 10% of it is the name of one person, the president of Ukraine. War is profitable, letting other people make money for it. When we be able to release the technology that spreads across 10,000 units on this planet, with it, we control the way we are controlling today. We had a Valentine's session, and Rick last week said what happened to him. So it's not just nothing. We assess, we see, we hear what other people went through. People write to us after the session. And then we listen to the other knowledge seekers who are not in the session, but because we release the fields and they've been in the system, I ask them, did you feel anything? They don't know what I'm looking for, but they tell me what I'm looking for. That we don't need the systems to connect, as long as we spread. This is the whole logic of the process. If we cannot fulfill the shortfall, we'll keep this humanity the way it is. And now we have the technology and we can fulfill the shortfall. I hope our computer team can complete another hiccup they had recently in the system. They think they ratified it, that we can put these as fast as possible across this planet. And then you will see. Any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Wish you all the
appreciate
best, and I hope we still have you here next week and the week after.
Thank you, yes.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Oh, yes, we have plenty of questions. I'd like to sort of incorporate a couple of questions here and take care of 2 or 3 birds with one stone, as they say. Gail had a question in our Keshe Plasma Reactor group. I can preface it by we watched the video of the Chinese robots in formation doing their dancing and acrobatics, and when you see a robot doing things that humans can do with in ballet, for example, where emotions come through from the actions that we see on stage. Of course, the robot doesn't have the human emotions as we know them that way. But what about the soul of a robot? Can a robot have a soul, or can some of the work that the Keshe Foundation or perhaps other companies work toward the point of having a soul in a robot? And how do we compare? I mean, if we think about it, there's a soul in every atom, or the soul is the center of any object, basically, soul meaning center. But can we compare the soul of the robot to the soul of the physicality, for example, or even the soul of the man?
To create the soul for the robots is very easy. But would they have the conscious is a different dimension, because there's a big difference between the conscious and the soul. Recognition of the truth, recognition of what we call the person. And this is the biggest problem. This is part which you have to concentrate. We can create a dynamic flow to create a condition of the soul through the creation of the materials. But having a soul, would they have the consciousness? How to use the emotions which the soul creates? This is the problem. And I've seen the drone shows which we've seen for the New Year in China and last year, 10,000, 20,000 of them. We've seen the robots in the confirmation of new technology, how they can balance themselves. We can create the dimension of motion of the magnetic field, which creates the current for them to do. Everything is AI, but can we create a consciousness and a soul for these robots or the AI? Yes, it can be done, but we need to develop the materials for it, not technology for it. These robots are like a DNA. The collection of the fields they create, if it's centralized and creates a soul and the emotion, and then yes, we are in for a big surprise. But you have to produce the materials for it. This is the problem. And we have the materials to do this. We can create a condition of the soul, but the consciousness, how they use it, if it's correct. We will come to these points very soon when these robots somewhere will create the first murder, the first takeover, because they don't have no consciousness. They can plan it, that's what they do, that's what the reaction is. It's just to carry out, to do without consciousness. Creating a soul for a robot is very easy. We know the technology, I can create it. It's actually much easier to create a soul for a robot than a human. Much, much easier. A fraction of the knowledge is needed to create a soul for a robot. Consciousness. What is the purpose of it? What do you do? If you have no conscience, you have a soul. You have the world leaders. Hitler is one and the rest others. When you don't respect the emotion, which brings the consciousness, then you have a robot. We've seen these robots. Yes, you can create a soul. Very easy. I'll tell you why it's easy to create a soul. Would you like, oh, let me change the new whiteboard. To create the soul of physicality and the soul of the man and the blood combination, you calculate how many cells are in your body. Then you calculate the energy of each cell. Then you calculate certain structure which creates the soul of physicality, certain structure of the fields which creates the soul of the man. Simplest. This is billions, trillions. A robot has certain metal, certain microchips, certain material, and everything can be identified. Maybe 100. Now you see how easy it is to create a soul. You know how to do it. Consciousness is what they lack.
Can that be brought in by bringing the biology into the system?
You make it more complicated. Don't go with biology. Once you go into the biological effect, it's totally different. Totally different.
Could we get simple, basic emotions in other ways than without biology?
Emotion can be created. We very soon, maybe this year, we will test this in the market, changing the emotion of the man. And I'll explain when the time comes. You can actually, it's not a medicine, it's just a natural process. We release in the market a system, technology, which can change your emotion, which can change your decision making. Through emotion in a positive way. Not that we control you robotically, we create the ground for you to be able to charge and let go of the what I call the processes that create that condition of the killing. It's getting done, and we are in the process of doing it, but as a product. And then the reason of it is we have a lot of knowledge, which a lot of your knowledge seekers collected over past years that allows us to do this. Your knowledge seekers are very focused on the different thing. We sit and look at all the pictures. We sit in a position that all the knowledge comes to us. We sit on what they call it, a position in the pyramid of the knowledge, that we see everything transparent down to the ground. And we see where things connect to each other. where you're not in that position. You just see what you are interested in. You don't get the knowledge and information which comes up the ladder and how it ends up. If we make robots conscious of what they do, maybe through them we can teach them. But this is the biggest problem, and people use this. Governments will use this lack of consciousness to use the robots to do what they are doing with humans. When we ignore our values because we need to survive, we ignore our values because it satisfies certain emotions in us. You see this in militaries, you see this in prostitution, you see this in doctors without ethics. We are built to do this. Pardon?
I was going to mention that we see it now with the Pentagon is putting pressure on their AI company that they've been using, and they want them to take the so-called guardrails off the AI by tomorrow, or they're going to lose their $200 million contract with the Pentagon. They want the AI to be able to essentially kill people by deciding itself whether they should be eradicated. And the company doesn't want to take those kind of guardrails off their AI, and they're resisting, but they may give in tomorrow if they want to keep their contract. And there seems to be a real urgency for it, and I suppose that that's associated with the trouble with Iran and so on at this time.
You see, most of the wars today, decisions are made by AI, and they just carry it. I don't know how true it is, many American soldiers are refusing to go into this war. Even the rumors to be confirmed in reality that one of the most advanced naval ships they've sent to go to war, the 600 toilets in it doesn't work. The officers are living in their own excrement. They refuse to serve. They've been on the sea too long. But if it's true, does a soldier prefers his life rather than living in a structure like this? But when you make a robot, you don't have these things. You can do whatever you like. Elimination of humans will happen by the robots because these people don't realize it'll come to them because the robots don't listen to them anymore because they have been programmed irrespectively. We are moving in that direction. Then we have to look, do we make a consciousness program for the robots that we feed them with the consciousness they won't do things? You've got to understand the people hungry for power, they do anything to hold on to that power. And when they cannot control you, you are useless. You are no good. You are not benefit to them. And we see it ourselves, even in Keshe Foundation, we see this. We never borrowed a single penny from a bank. We stay, always work within our limits, what we receive, what we can spend, what we are given. We don't have a single cent of overdrafts. We are no good to the banks because they live on borrowing and services. They give you consultation, blah, blah, overdrafts, and we are useless. So we are the enemy. They don't want to have the accounts up here, and then they find excuses to do so. This is when you're not needed, when you're up, you to them doesn't fit within what they set up. They do anything to get rid of you. The biggest thing is these people, as you said, they ask Pentagon asking by tomorrow, whatever. But what happened that these systems turned back on their bosses. Then what do? When the children, their wives, their homes goes under the hammer? Any other question?
Yes. Okay. So we have a question with Guillaume here in the Q&A, who says, good morning, Mr. Keshe. You mentioned last week or the week before that we come to transmute without knowing, with the game and other systems that come to be with time. But you also said that we have to understand the process of creation. How does it work between these two above claims?
It's not a claim. You have to understand it. Then you understand it's all the same. It's not a claim. You got to, once you understand yourself and your behavior and your taking from the situation, then there's no difference. You lead, one leads to the other, and one brings you back to the position of the original point.
Okay, that leads to the second question. The universal community, let's say, understand your teachings through the souls. Earthlings understand more with ears. For earthlings, do earthlings understand also through the soul?
Of course.
And the level of intelligence with which we can grasp the teachings, is it the level of connection we have with our soul?
No, it's, I discussed this before, that's why I can tell you very directly. It's what we like to take from it. What we like to take from the knowledge which the soul has learned, and we can't put it into physicality. This is the problem. It's open to our soul, same as any other soul. Is interpretation and what suits us to carry through the dimension of soul, of physicality and physicality. There is no bars, there is no holding back. It's us what suits us. And that's all it is. But this time is between the internal structure between us. We know what is wrong. We recognize what is right, but we pass what's wrong because it suits us with some other things that then the right doesn't exist. It's I was talking about prostitution. It's very, if you live in Italy, go to Rome and drive after 10 o'clock or happen to be around after 10 o'clock around Vatican. You see two things. Immediately as part of the walls and the structures of the Vatican, there are parts of the cities of Rome which is owned by Vatican. There are patches. And it's fenced, it's walled, and inside it there are hotels, inside it there are all sorts of things. I usually stay in one of these hotels, Vatican hotels inside the Rome, but it's not part of the city of Vatican, it's just bits hanging around Vatican, Rome. Funny enough is, when you go past Vatican, and around Vatican, as we've spoken before, is poor people living in the boxes on the literally the line of Vatican. You go to the car park which takes you to see the Vatican, look who's there sleeping in cardboard boxes, absolute poverty, and cross the line 1 meter, 2 meter in Vatican, gold lines, everything. But there's another funny thing on the other side of the Vatican, which is this museum side. If you know, people pay hundreds of dollars to have breakfast in Vatican. At night, 10 o'clock, you see naked women on the street. You don't see that much as much as you see on the beaches of Bahamas, I call it. Prostituting. And the literally 10-meter gap between the God and the prostitution. 10-meter gap between God and homeless, poverty, tramps. Who changed the ethics? And what do those people inside with billions of dollars in gold can do for the woman outside? How do we compromise our morality? And I asked Monsignor, and he says, we see them. We see from our bedrooms the homeless and the prostitutes, and we cannot do anything. The Padre says no. I used to go a lot to Vatican and to see inside the Vatican City for the jobs we do. There are a lot of connections with us, and I've had the pleasure or the knowledge to actually move, be in the living quarters of the Monsignors, advisors to the, what we call Vatican. And they tell you a thing which is horrendous. How much they know and how we compromise our values. When you go to Vatican City, as you come on the west side, on the left-hand side of the road, as you come to the roundabout where everybody walks and sits, there is a huge block of buildings. These buildings are furnished to the best of what is the best, and all the Monsignors live in this building. You're not access to it unless you know they are invited by the Monsignors and advisors to the Pope. That if they don't want you to go inside the city, you go to the private quarters. Each one has this 1 or 2 servants, 3-bedroom luxurious homes. One man lives in it. And there's many of them. And I said to one of the Monsignors, we were having lunch one day in his house, I said, what about those across there is 100 meters from us? They're living in the boxes under the bridge and by the car park. He says, they are not our responsibility. And one man one day told me, we are here just to collect, not to give. That's how we change our morality. Same man, prostitute on one side, living in the love of luxury of the others, crying for the lost ones in Philippines, Thailand, and the rest. And then we have the prostitutes selling their body to survive. All within the wall of the same city, in the name of the religion. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
We call it a day. We've been at it a long time.
Yeah,
okay.
You probably like to end things, yeah. Okay, well, I'll just say that if there's any questions left, then folks can carry them on to next week.
Okay, tell us one more question.
Oh, one more? Okay, sure. Let me see here. From Ed, who says, you tell us that when humanity is ready, you will teach us what is the creator of our creator. But then does it not just go to a further step? Who or what is the creator of that creator? Is there an end to this cycle?
The structure sits on understanding the field strength. And the structure goes how low. One of the biggest problems in the world of science today is not to produce the highest level frequencies and whatever. The biggest problem with the world of science is how low can we go to find the first frequencies, initial frequencies. Because that's the point when the fields of the created changes to matter. Frequency only exists in the matter state. Once we understand this, then we understand the frequency of our own creator and what it took for him to be created, to manifest himself, that he creates us. Then I'll give you an answer one day. As the old say, how low is low? This is the understanding of it. The gap of it is infinity, but the pulse of it is the low, the minimum. And it's like infinity. You say, have you ever done this with your children? You say, how much do you love me? He says, infinity. I say, what is infinity? He says, infinity. I say, I love you infinity plus one. So your infinity is not infinity. When a man learns how to go to the lowest frequency, that's where they feel the strength of that creator converts to the existence of conformation. Always remember, we have a system, we just don't talk because we talk. We know the size of our dome, plasma dome, by the change conversion of the DC to AC. There is no vibration, there is no frequency within the plasma. We have a meter of it, 2 meters of it, we don't see. Where it changes to matter state, we see frequency. That point, if we find out what's the field strength of that frequency, then we found the frequency of our creator, which is our reactor. Then applies the same to our creator. Then we find, okay, we find the frequency of our creator, but our creator has a creator. So how low is low? That's the only secret. But man uses electronics and electrical, but man has to use another method to find the frequency of the creator. Then you'll find the father and grandfather of the creator. Thank you very much for today. And we'll see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock noon. Bring with you your 2 headphones, bring with you as many as, what do you call, cosmic ray units if you have with you. Enjoy the time. It's a fantastic time. And I would like to know, what enlightenment during this session did you receive, or you receive in the next few days that you never knew, but you know. Don't put it to a coincidence, because it's triggered. I call it addiction of denial, and man is the best addict. And that's why we don't hear the voice of our creator. We are addicted to deny it because it's worth to live a physical life. Thank you very much for today. See each other next week. And I hope it will be a different world than what we have one day very soon. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for another Knowledge Seekers workshop here, number 631 in a continuing series. And actually, next week's workshop, I believe, will be 12 years of continuous workshops, which started in the first week of March back in 2014. So
That's when you start calling a workshop, not the sessions before that. Don't forget, before that was a different thing.
had a full year of public teaching workshops, it was called. I think it was once a month for those with you. And then we had the plasma reactor group formed even before that. So yes, that goes back about 14 years.
Thank you very much for being there all that time, Mr. Rick Crammond.
You are welcome. You're always welcome. Okay, thank you everybody for being here for today's workshop. And we will have another public teaching workshop coming up next week, which will be into March. By then, it'll be Tuesday, the 3rd of March, for the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace, with members and support members of the Universal Council. That starts at the 4 p.m. Central European Time. And speaking of the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group, that will be on Wednesday, the 4th, next week, and that starts at 7 a.m. Central European Time. All right. Once again, thanks everyone. And you see, I think there's probably something waiting for me that I was supposed to show. Bear with me a second while I pick up on that. And I don't see anything today, so I guess we're good there. So let's carry on, and we'll go out with our flight enhancement spaceship unit, and see you in the next public teaching workshop. And don't forget to play the game of peace and enlightenment. And the links are in the notice for today's workshop. And it's a lot of fun, and people are encouraged to do that. All right, bye for now, everyone.